Amazing. I really should check ID. I cannot believe you're 12. I'm talking to you. I'm listening to you, and it's quite amazing that
I do have my birth certificate.
it's okay. But it's amazing. I mean, everything about you, you're so poised. It's just incredible. Hi, I'm Jerry Barmash, and this is the Patch Weekly Spotlight. Now, if you were to look up the phrase child prodigy, I don't know if it... Hi, I'm Jerry Barmash, and this is the Patch Weekly Spotlight. Now, if you were to look up the phrase child prodigy, I don't know if it comes up in the dictionary as such, but for our purposes, let's say it's in the dictionary as an entry, you would probably find a picture of my guest, 12-year-old Suborno Barry. He is about to graduate from Malvern High School and ready to attend NYU in the fall. And thank you for joining me today on the Patch Weekly Spotlight.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. Since I saw you in an interview, I guess it was last week or over the weekend, I wanted to coordinate an interview and speak to you here. 12 years old, I was trying to figure out, I think typically that's a 6th or 7th grader, I believe.
Yes, I'm a bit young because I just turned 12 a month ago, so people my age would normally still be in 6th grade.
6th grade, okay. So yeah, so you just got to 12. So you've skipped basically not just a year or two, you've skipped like a whole school.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, but I'm trying to finish my education as quickly as I can.
So how has it been at Malvern with you're in school, I'm assuming, with people who are all older than you?
No, they're all also child prodigies, all 12, 11, 10. I'm just the average student.
Yeah, you've got a class of all child prodigies. How does it feel being a child prodigy? And when did you know you were a child prodigy? This must have been something that you were very young, right?
Well, I wouldn't call myself a child prodigy, maybe, because I'm doing work in, like, for example, reading that's higher than the average 6th grader, but I wouldn't call myself a child prodigy, but more someone who just has a passion for learning, especially in terms of mathematics. So my parents have called me a child prodigy, certainly. I think they started that habit since when I was around 7 years old. But they really said they recognized I had some sort of special talent since I was 2 or 3 years old when they were teaching me basic arithmetic operations like addition and subtraction. So I was trying to conceptualize what would be beyond these concepts. Like, what happens if 5 plus 3 is 8? Okay, that's a basic fact. But what happens if we add 5 plus 5? And then 5 plus 5 plus 5 again? What if we keep adding the same number? So that's multiplication. And what if we had like a number which we didn't know the value of, and then we did operations on it and tried to figure out what the resulting expression would be? And that's basically algebra. So I thought that it was really simple to break down such concepts like this, but my parents apparently thought, wow, this guy's really above his grade level. But unfortunately, at that time, we weren't the richest family in the world, I can say. We didn't really know when our next meal would be coming by, and we lived in this really cramped apartment in the middle of the Bronx. So it was certainly a very unique place, and we didn't really have the resources to actually get me accelerated through school until I was past 3rd or 4th grade. So I went to this small school, not small, I would say about 300, 400 kids in this elementary school named Public School 7 or PS7. You might also hear it come up under the name Milton Fine or Milton Fane. I don't exactly remember how to pronounce it. It's been a few years. But so I was going to go to that school for most of my schooling. I got into that gifted and talented program that they had in New York City a while ago. And they sent me to PS7 where I was taking a little bit of advanced courses, but nothing really too big. So instead of doing the addition and subtraction that the normal kids were doing. Were instead doing like multiplication and division and fractions and all of that scary stuff. But after that, once I got to third grade, this a small local virus. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called like the coronavirus or something. And
Yes.
yeah, so that made us have to go online. But that was not here in Malvern. That was still at the public school in the Bronx. So they hadn't really figured out how to hybridize education yet. So they just went to all online. And that was really the most disengaging thing for me. Already, I was struggling to be engaged in school because it was just way below my level, both in mathematics and to a lesser extent in reading. So when it was online and I actually had the freedom to just walk out of the classroom at any point, I just turned my camera off and did something else that I thought was better. So at the end of the year, I felt so demotivated. I actually racked up quite a few missing assignments. But so after that, I made it to fourth grade where I moved to around this area in Lynbrook. So Lynbrook is only like walking distance away from this high school. So that's where we decided to go first. And I would have ended up in the Davison Avenue Intermediate School, which is for third to fifth graders, since I was an entering fourth grader. But when they assessed me, because my dad noticed how disengaged I was during last year. So he thought that I should be accelerated a little bit. And the administration at Davison agreed, especially the principal of Davison Intermediate Avenue. Davison Avenue Intermediate. I don't remember if she's still here. Yes, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Dr. Rachel Udens, he was a very big help. And initially, we would have jumped straight to 12th grade because that's what the test indicated. But the people at Malvern were very concerned for my socio-emotional development that way. Just throwing me in a room with 20 other 18-year-olds might have like consequences for the teachers and consequences for me in terms of stress and other factors as well. So instead, they decided to send me to eighth grade for a part of the day to take eighth grade courses. And then they'd send me over to a fourth grade classroom where I could interact with peers of my age. So I was coming back right around lunchtime. So that was definitely an exciting year because I got to take courses that actually somewhat challenged me. So I was especially paying attention in biology class because I found that the hardest of all the eighth grade courses. But after that, oh, sorry if I'm taking up too much time. Am I?
No, not at all. It's much more fascinating than what I would have to say. So no, this is great.
Yeah, sorry.
But I just wanted to ask you, we're talking about with high school. When did you actually get into high school? How old were you?
Right. I was still 9 years old. I was on the verge of turning 10. But yeah, I was 9 years old, and my first year of going to high school, they decided that, well, I myself wasn't feeling very engaged with the fourth graders, and I felt that I was losing opportunities by not being able to take higher level classes for more time in the day. So they decided to cater to those needs, and they sent me fully to ninth grade. And I felt like that was when I interacted the most fully with my peers. I think that was the 2022 to 23 school year. So now we're in the 2023 to 24 school year, and I got jumped up from 9th to 12th grade once again. So I'm in senior year now, and that's where I am so far. I hope that by graduation, I will have a real vision for what I want to do next.
That's what I was going to ask you. I figured you had something mapped out already. You must have some ideas.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What sort of career path, even if it's several, what sort of path do you plan?
Right. So I always wanted to try spreading my knowledge. You're probably aware of this already, but I have a YouTube channel and also one on Facebook where I teach math and science. to people around the world. Doesn't matter if they're like 5 years old or 80 years old. Not like we can track the ages of our viewers anyway. But I try to believe that every single viewer can learn math, no matter what their circumstances are, as long as they put their mind to it. I mean, I learned a fair bit of math while I was a 4 or 5 year old living in a pretty impoverished home. We were surviving off governmental aid back then, so we were tight on money, to say the least. So I believe that if I could go through that and still learn math at such a young age, then anyone, if they put their mind to it and they can truly understand what's going on behind the scenes, can learn math, not just skipping around doing different concepts 24/7. So that's been my motive, to teach math and to give it motivation and passion so that every student can understand. And I hope that one day I can do that professionally. And there are already several good professors at universities like Princeton, MIT, and that's why I'm going to one of those elite universities like NYU, which already has a load of good professors. Maybe I'll work there for a short time because they have some good resources for research. But the thing is, I really want to help these small universities, which don't have the resources to provide a good science education. And I want to help out those 19 or 20-year-olds who are living off ramen noodles every single day and much less have the time to actually understand mathematics by pulling all-nighters and watching videos from Khan Academy at 12 in the morning. So that's why I think that we should be putting in more resources towards education in those lower level colleges. And that's why I want to go there and try to provide a light for those students who don't have what it takes in terms of financial resources to succeed.
So math is your passion, right?
Yes.
That's great, and it sounds like clearly whatever you put your mind to, you're going to accomplish.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You may not think you're a child prodigy, but as your parents say, and I'm sure your teachers have said, you're a child prodigy. I do want to ask you a little. What was the interaction like at school, at the high school?
Yeah, so about the teachers part, I think you should interview them as well because I haven't talked to them much about this, but I'm sure they have. They've had a very unique experience teaching someone who's only 11 or 12 years old. So I haven't talked to them much about this. Some of them are very experienced. Some of them have only been teaching for 2 years. My AP government teacher, this is, I believe, her second year teaching. So I'm sure that no matter how much experience they haven't experienced something like this before. So I'm sure they have some interesting perspectives as well. Now, to get off of that tangent, I think that my interactions at school have been very respectful, and the community at Malvern, both the administration and especially the students, have made it a very welcoming place for me. Well, most of the students. So that's why I really appreciate Malvern, and while I'm sure there are lots of other schools that might exceed it in academics, there's no school that can really outperform it in terms of how welcoming the community is to us, such, I guess, an alien figure, like a 12-year-old who is much younger than any of the students here. So that's why I really appreciate that I've been able to get along. They haven't experienced something like this before, so I'm sure they have some interesting perspectives as well. Now, two of them have only been teaching for 2 years. My AP government teacher, this is, I believe, her second year teaching. So I'm sure that no matter how much experience they haven't experienced something like this before. So I'm sure they have some interesting perspectives as well. Now, to get off of that tangent, I think that my interactions at school have been very respectful, and the community at Malvern, both the administration and especially the students, have made it a very welcoming place for me. Well, most of the students. So that's why I really appreciate Malvern, and while I'm sure there are lots of other schools that might exceed it in academics. There are no schools that can really outperform it in terms of how welcoming the community is to such, I guess, an alien figure, like a 12-year-old who is much younger than any of the students here. So that's why I really appreciate that I've been able to get along with most of my classmates and that my teachers treat me like a normal person. It's not like they give me easier versions of exams or give me more lenient due dates on homework. And so I really appreciate that I'm being treated in a normal way, not any easier or any more lenient or any harsher. And that's what I've been looking for from the high school experience. And that's what I've gotten from both my peers and my teachers.
Right. So they didn't put you on a pedestal and praise you extra, anything extra special. You're there on an even level with everyone.
Yeah, of course. That's what I really enjoy, being challenged.
Right, exactly. You chose NYU. Did you have a lot of schools to choose from?
Only about 5 or 6, and most of them weren't in my proximity exactly. So there were two big ones that were in my proximity that I wanted to really apply to: Stony Brook University and NYU. I had taken extracurricular classes at them before, so I thought they would be good choices. And both of them ended up accepting me, but Stony Brook University is much farther away than NYU, which is in the city. So it's like a 20-mile drive versus a 50-mile drive. And when you're coming there and back 3 times a week, that difference really adds up. So it really saves you lots of time. And secondly, I think that although Stony Brook University's campus is definitely a little less invasive than the middle of Manhattan, I think that NYU has a little more resources, and especially the professors have been extremely welcoming at NYU. Don't get me wrong, the professors at Stony Brook were wonderful as well, but I think that I made the right choice by choosing New York University.
Yeah, well, as you said before, it's an elite college, and I'm sure you'll do just fine there. Amazing. I really should check ID. I cannot believe you're 12. I'm talking to you. I'm listening to you, and it's quite amazing that
I do have my birth certificate.
it's okay. But it's amazing. I mean, everything about you. You're so poised. It's just incredible. Yeah, I wish you continued success and again everything that you want in your career.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, my health teacher, Mr. Dunn, asked me to shout out him in the middle of one of these interviews. So there you go. He's a great teacher. He's saving lives every day.
That's amazing. That's terrific. Well, I'm glad we got to speak to you today. It's terrific. Good luck to you.
It was a wonderful interview. Very unique.
Oh, well, you made it easy for me. Thank you.
Of course. You wouldn't believe how many interviews I get every day, but I'll truly remember this as one of the most unique ones, even though it's one of the shortest as well, only about 20 minutes. It's still a very exciting experience to get to talk to you. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, we had a great time. That was Suborno Barry, 12-year-old, just turned 12, high school graduate from Malvern High School, and he is headed to NYU.